sign. You give us a reason to believe. We don't believe it. No matter what we say, it's true. It's true. We don't believe it. No matter what we say, it's true. This is our world. We don't believe it. We don't know where we are. Up on the mountains, we see the towers in the sky. Send us a sign. You give us a reason to believe. Don't believe it. No matter what we say, it's true. It's true. We don't believe it. No matter what we say, it's true. This is our world. We don't believe it. No matter what we say, it's true. It's true. We don't believe it. No matter what we say, it's true. This is our world.
Hello everybody. Happy Wednesday. How are we all doing? We doing good? Good to have you here. I am Myles Dyer and welcome to Myles Dyer Live, where this time every Wednesday we hang out and talk about all sorts, from the fun to the serious. When it's serious, it's world events, it's mental health and well-being, it's life hacks. And when it's more lighthearted, it's gaming, movies, quizzes, pop culture. But it's always a good time in the chat, so I want to say a massive hello to everyone who is joining us right now. Looper, the Underground Game Cat, hello. Mojo, hello. David VR, Headbite. Chris in the Purple House. App UK, good to see you here. Kira Cat Lady, Captain F Castle, who I've been playing a lot of games with lately, which I'll get to in just a moment. King Rolo, the Cartoon Game Cats. 12, the Backlogged Game Cat. Clem Fandango, Mr. Lord Beavis, and many, many more. Hello to all of you. And even if you're watching in the background and not saying anything, I hope you are chilled. I have actually come back to my house because, for those that don't know, my kitchen is currently being redone. Oh my goodness. My living room has been completely transformed because I've knocked, my dad has done it, has knocked through the wall from the kitchen into the living room, and it has just completely opened it up. I mean, there is no kitchen there, so it will close off a little bit once I start putting all the things there. It's been a really weird 2024. Good and bad. I feel mainly bad only because it's just really disruptive, when you have a lot going on. And so, for me, that is, something I have to deal with. So, the bad that many of you know already was I lost my job first week coming back to the new year, which was not great. But good news is, I'm pressing forward with getting a kitchen redone, but it means I've moved back in with my parents, which I love my parents very much. But at a time when you're trying to get a grounded footing, you always look for that anchor in that life, that consistency. And consistency is just all over the place. And so for anyone else that has been going through a tough time, or maybe is going through some instability in your lives, and it's not even just about now, any time of the year, totally feel for you. And we talk about this a lot, and we have a lot of people in the chat talking about difficult times. And, you just got to persevere, because eventually you will find those anchor points where you have strong foundations. And look, at the end of the day, I'm very fortunate that I have a very supportive family. I have great friends, and of course I have you, this amazing, amazing community, and I'm really, really excited for chatting about everything that we will today. But some more of the other good stuff. I haven't mentioned that yet, but I have been looking up freelance work, as you would do, while you're looking for actual, full-time work. And it's been an interesting exploration, to say the least. I've been looking in cybersecurity where I worked before, and I've always said I don't want to work in the VR space. And it's not because I wouldn't want to work in the VR space, but it's just it's such a hobby and a passion for me. I like keeping it that way. But with that said, and the people I'm about to mention now know, because when we had initial discussions about working together, I told them that was exactly on my mind. But for those that are aware in the VR space of a game called Smash VRS, which was developed for PlayStation VR2 by Rapid Eye Movers, by Jorg and Lee and the rest of the team there. I've been in conversations, and actually, hopefully he doesn't mind me saying this, but when I first announced to the world that I'd been made redundant, Jorg had actually messaged me within the hour, and he said, "Hey, give me a call." We had a conversation. Super nice guy. I've known that already. I met him last year, and we had some conversations, and a lot of conversations about working together. And so the short story is, I'm now working with Rapid Eye Movers on all their content strategy, because for those that have been keeping tabs, although Smash VRS was a PlayStation VR2 exclusive, it is now coming to Meta Quest, which I see as a win for everyone. It's a great game. I'm loving to see it go to new audiences, but also, although it's not going to have cross-play when it launches, hopefully if it does well on MetaQuest, there will be cross-play functionality, and it will revitalise, the abilities to play multiplayer in it on PSVR2 as well. So, I'm working with them. And I'll just say that a big part of the conversation, what I loved about the guys, and this is a big part whenever I have a discussion, and by the way, thank you for all the kind words coming in, awesome and hell yes and all that. Whenever I have conversations, whether it's for a full-time job or a freelance piece of work, I always say this is a partnership. It's not just a question of, is this job right for me, but am I right for you at the company? And so I'm someone who, maybe sometimes to my own disadvantage, I just lay it all out there and say, here are my concerns, these are my things, are we good, can we move forward? And I said, hey, I do Without Parole, I do Let's Plays on my own channel, I like having editorial freedom. And I said, I know you guys aren't going to be telling me to say only good things about the game. And they then said, yeah, we're not going to tell you what to do there. But I said, despite that, there is still a air of conflict of interest unless you're completely transparent about it. Because funnily enough, having gone back to C Smash VRS in the last couple of months, I do think it is a game that in our top 25 conversations is often overlooked, and it's something I'm definitely going to be bringing up in future. But the fact that I'm working with them now, it's something I've got to put my hands up to. So look, it's amazing to be working with them. It is short term, although potential for long term, depending on how the partnership goes. But for me, my focus with them, and doing a couple of days a week with them, is to just revitalize their content strategy and to help them with the launch to MetaQuest. Because the thing I love about C Smash VRS, and for those that don't know it, it is basically like squash in space mixed up with Pong. What I love about it is it's universal. There's no in-game voice chat, so you can be playing people from all over the world and not aware of who they are and where they are. And it is one of the most, if not the most accessible VR game out there. You can play it sitting down, you can play it one-handed. There's just so many factors on it, and so I just thought I'd announce today that I'm going to be working with them. I want to thank Rapid Eye Movers for giving me this shot to work with them on it. So watch this space. Finally, before we get on with the main topic of the show, because for those that haven't noticed by the title, it is the 1 year anniversary of PlayStation VR2, which came out on the 22nd of February last year in 2023. I can't believe it's come around that quickly. And so it felt a bit weird to do an episode without firstly acknowledging it, but secondly just without taking a moment to pause and reflect on everything. Because for anyone that's been following my channel, and if you haven't already, do subscribe and ring the bell. I was on a quest to let's play, which means just live stream. Well, you can do it recorded. I live stream my let's plays every single PSVR2 game out there, and I've done 170. I think there's like a handful that I still need to do, but because of my current situation, I haven't been able to do the last few, but I will do once I've moved back in fully and have my living room space for doing VR again. It's been an amazing year, and I just wanted to take a moment, just from a perspective of someone who has played all the games, to give you my 10 key takeaways of PlayStation VR2 for its first year. And then on top of that, I have 5 things, although during this conversation I might come up with a few more. I have 5 things I think PlayStation needs to do in year 2 to really make PSVR2 become even more of a success. I do think it has been a success in the first year, but I think there are some limiting factors. There is that. So before we get on to that, there is actually the Dyer Discovery. I know what it's going to be. But first, every week we always talk about vitamin G. What are you grateful for? We always take a moment every week just to think about what you're grateful for. I invite you all to share it in the chat. What is your moment of vitamin G? It could be a person. It could be a place you visited, an experience you had, a thing. It could be anything. Like, vitamin G can just be holding a glass of water and just being grateful that you get access to clean drinking water. It doesn't always have to be about the big things of like being grateful for having things that other people don't. Sometimes it's just being in the moment. And so I've already alluded to it already, but for this week, my vitamin G definitely goes down to just being a part of an amazing virtual reality community. Rapid Eye Movers obviously has been a big part of that the last week, but all of you in the chat who turn up every week, even those of you that may not tune in live but always leave me wonderful comments on the videos afterwards, is excellent. And obviously the Without Parole guys, love hosting the shows with them, so that is where my vitamin G goes. I love some of the people coming up with their own top 10s already. But yeah, let me know in the chat what your vitamin Gs are, but also just to say, you don't have to share them. Like, just keeping them to yourselves can be just as impactful. And as I mention every week, when I go to bed, I always just take a moment to like list 3 things I'm grateful for that day. And that could be great. Got one from Dominic Maguire who says, friends organising things to do for me when I'm not motivated to do so. That is so important. I mean, you can think about, the more cliche examples where, having a gym buddy because only one of you needs to technically be motivated to drag the other one along. But sometimes in life, you can't always be motivated, and sometimes you need someone who just says, hey, I'll take care of that. Just show up and I'll take care of the rest. And that can be amazing, amazing, amazing. Mojo says, my vitamin G this week is for tasty, delicious, warm food to help fill my empty stomach that's not been very happy the last 2 days, so I'm happy and thankful to be eating good food again. Yay for good food. Kira Cat Lady says, grateful for this fun and playful stream after a meth day. Tell me about it. Today's been a struggle for me. Unfortunately, I'm coming down with something. My dad has been very unwell. He got unwell after coming back from a skiing vacation, and I think naturally it was only a matter of time until I caught it as well. But mad props to my dad, because despite feeling unwell, he's been just helping out with sorting out all the kitchen, doing amazing DIY stuff with his buddy Nick. And it's just been incredible. The virtual resistance, and I will get to this in a moment. I'm grateful for my breaker shotgun for bringing democracy. I can't wait to talk about this. Callie Timecat says this week's vitamin G goes to the chairs of the LGBT and neurodiversity networks, who have had some good feedback to help me complete my blog on the subject. King Rolo, the cartoon games cat, says vitamin G, enjoying the gym and good health, so easily overlooked. And it is. And I always mention this, it's totally cool to overlook stuff, because sometimes if you focus on it again and again, you'll never live your life. But just having those little windows of vitamin G just to reflect on it is great. So that's awesome. Myles says, good day. Good day to you. And I love your avatar. Super, super cool. Atma says, my wife, even with her current physical ailments, went above to make my birthday special on Monday. Well, belated happy birthday for you. I hope you had a good one. It sounds like you did. David VR says, and lots coming in here. Love it. Vitamin G, spring is just around the corner. There is frog spawn in my garden pond. Yeah, spring is just around the corner. I can't wait for that. Siago says, dumb vitamin G. I'm going to say no vitamin G is dumb, but I will read it first and then I'll make a decision. But vitamin G for new guitar strings. I haven't changed the old ones for heckin' ages. Not really doing enough live to justify it lately. But it was time. World of difference. That's not dumb at all. It's the little things can be the most important. Because if we always rely on the big things, you do overlook the little things, and also the little things can be just wonderful. Sometimes you'll have a day where you don't do anything big and bold, but just being grateful for the small things can be great. Vitamin G from Dixie592. Vitamin G is being surrounded by good friends and family that you can always depend on when it counts. Peace. Agree to that. Wicked. Hey Marianne, good to see you here. Happy not your birthday today, but was recently at my... Oh yeah, belated. All the belateds. Right, so thank you for all those vitamin Gs. Now, coming up next is Dire Discoveries. Now, I will try and make this short, because I say I don't want to bore you all, but there is a game that came out, I think a couple of weeks ago now, that has taken the world by storm. It was a PlayStation game on the flat screen, which also got released on PC, and it's called Helldivers 2. So it's a sequel, and I'm going to be very simplistic. For anyone that's seen the 1997 movie Starship Troopers, it's like that in VR. Sorry, it's not that in VR. It's that in a computer game. I would love for it to be on VR. See, VR is so much on my mind at the moment. And it has taken the world by storm. Last week, it hit the record for the most popular game on Steam released by Microsoft or PlayStation, beating Halo. I think it even beat Grand Theft Auto, based on concurrent players, the amount of players that are on it at the same time, just on Steam, which is PC, not PlayStation. We don't know what those figures are. And it's been such a success that most people can't get on because the servers are full. And everyone in the chat is saying Helldivers 2 is so fantastic. Love Helldivers. And it is honestly, hands down, the most fun I've ever felt playing a computer game in like forever. I think it even captures the magic I probably felt when I first played Minecraft or Fortnite or Grand Theft Auto Online. It was this sense of like, wow, this world is just incredible. And what was amazing about it was, for a new game, it came out at £35, not like 70. And the game is Super Earth, is fighting against these bug creatures in space and also these like robots. So it's like Starship Troopers or Terminator, depending on where you fight. And there's a world map, and you can see Super Earth in the middle, and you can see like the different areas of the galaxy where the alien species or the robots are pushing forward. And so you choose a planet, and if you're on your own, you can actually see where other players are fighting on the planets, and you can join in and dive in these little pods to land next to them. And you can play up to 4 players, and you basically have to complete a mission and then get out of there. Now, if you don't get out of there, so basically you call in the extraction helicopter called Pelican 1, which I absolutely love. And once people start boarding it, it then leaves in 20 seconds. And if it leaves without you, or none of you make it, as long as you complete the mission, you've completed the mission. It was a worthy sacrifice. And it's all about for managed democracy. It's all this like faux patriotism. It's, very satirical of fascism. We think of like, Starship Troopers. This game is incredible, and it's taken the world by storm. So much so that I did a video clip that I will show you. I did a video clip on it a couple of nights ago. This. And how many views did it get? Look at that. Did almost 500,000. 500,000 views. And it was a little clip of me with my mates, because basically I discovered that on this new railgun I had, there is an unsafe mode, and it basically takes off the safety. So as it's charging up, it'll keep heating up. And I overheated it, and then what happened was quite amusing. So my discovery for this week is Helldivers 2. If you have a PlayStation 5 or a PC, get involved. I have played with so many friends on it, and any friend that I've got to buy it has said, like, this is the best thing ever. My brother is a gamer, but we never play games together because he's on PC, I'm on PS5, and also we have different sort of tastes. We play all the time now together, which has been incredible. Looper says, unfortunately, Twitter views are not trustworthy. Of course not. Like 500,000 views on Twitter is just impressions, but it's all about comparison. When my normal tweets get about, between 500 and 2,000, it's a big increase. So that's what I'd say to that. So I do have some clips on it just to sort of show you the atmosphere. I was playing one tonight. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple clips. Well, firstly, I'll show you the one where I blew up. Check this out. This was me using the railgun, showing it off to my friends. Wow.
There it comes.
Oh, guys, the railgun, there's a mode on it called unsafe.
Charge it down.
When you hold square, there's safe and unsafe. I'm doing unsafe now. Here we go. Whoa! It's absolutely ridiculous. And that was my brother laughing at the end. It is so ridiculous. And it is just like, you're so frail on this planet and stuff goes wrong. And then when you're up against the big beasts, there's just so much interaction. So there was a bit where I was on this red planet that's kind of like Mars. And you sometimes find all sorts in the sand, and there are these like non-exploded nuclear warheads. And I found one, and just the explosions in this game are incredible. So I've got like 2 more clips to show you. So this is one of them, and this is me.
I'm running back to you guys, but I'm in a lot of trouble.
This is me playing with some randoms earlier tonight. You can see massive ones in the sky. The music's great. The atmosphere's great. You get tossed around a lot. Look at the size of them. You see that on the left there? That's the nuke. So I thought I'll bring them in.
Right, there's a nuke here. I'm bringing them all towards me. Eat dirt. Eat dirt.
It's unbelievable, man. It's kind of like you just sacrifice yourself. You sacrifice yourself for Super Earth. The last clip I'll show you before we get to the talk about PSVR2. And as I said, this game is just like unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, and there's lots of funny things in it. So here it says the nuclear bombs have to be manually activated for budgetary reasons. It's so tongue-in-cheek. It's so tongue-in-cheek. So there are 9 difficulty levels, and the 9th difficulty is called Helldiver. That's after extreme and suicidal. It just gets ridiculous. Mojo goes, holy crap, that is lit. This is a game that if I was home, I would plug in my PS5 into here and I'd live stream it. And to be honest, this is not going to lose its wow factor. So we'll definitely do that. But the next clip I'll show you, and actually I am just looking on my PS5 because I can dig up some clips here as well. I had one that was like, it's like Endor, one of the scenes. It's just some of the environments look incredible. I'm trying to see if I can see it. Maybe I can't find it. Is this it? No. So this is me and playing with 3 others on the hardest ever difficulty. And once you've completed your mission, there is a blue beacon in the sky, and that is where the evacuation site is. You have to go to it. And by the way, what you'll see a lot in the games is they're called stratagems. A word I did not know existed until I played this game. I looked it up, I realised it's a real word, although it sounds like something that could be made up for a game. And basically, you pull up a menu, and depending on what order you press the buttons, and you have the menu there, you bring in your ability. So it could be bringing in an orbital strike, it could be bringing in an airstrike, it could be placing a sentry turret. You can choose 4 slots before you go into the mission. And so, at the evacuation place, you have to tap the buttons, and then it says Pelican 1 will be here in 2 minutes, and you have to stay within the area for 2 minutes, and then if you die, you can be called back in as long as you have reinforcements. And JH says, Myles, I think you should write an open letter about your experience with PSVR2. You are qualified as you have played all the games. Well, stick around, because what I'm about to do is one better than an open letter. It's going to be an open live stream where I'm going to tell you my 10 key takeaways from PSVR2. I'm going to have to skim to the right moment here. This was the last 3 minutes. So I die here. So yeah, look, you can see in the top right corner, there's 1 minute 20 until I've got to get out. This is unbelievable. So here's me coming in. And you can see that blue light there. That is the extraction place. But I'm like, I can't hang around here. That was me reinforcing a buddy.
Right, calling you back in.
So you're having to tap the directions as you're running around.
I'm marking one of the big guys, but I threw your reinforcement thing different area, so don't worry if you can't.
And the reason you mark the big guys when you reinforce is their pods can then land on them and kill them. 48 seconds left. You get knocked around everywhere.
I had
Using grenades.
I'll land back on it.
Just get ragdolled everywhere. And look, that blue light on the right is where I need to get to in 30 seconds, 25 seconds.
Thank you.
And I thought I'm going to be left on the planet by myself. I'm not going to make it out. 17 seconds. Putting an orbital down that's going to blow up through it. Look at that laser. Right, Pelican 1's coming down. It's landing. But I've got to get up there. See it? There's the helicopter landing. Everyone's dying. It's just me now.
No, it's leaving in 10 seconds.
It's leaving in 10 seconds. And here's my mate. He's got to get on in
Come
4,
on, breed 'em.
3, 2, 1. It's unbelievable.
How do you change your title, like to Space Cadet or Sergeant? How do you change that?
It's in the.
It's amazing. And funnily enough, that wasn't the clip I wanted to show. I just realised, which was a shame. But it was another great epic moment. I'm just having a look on my captures to see if I've got it here because no, maybe I hadn't installed it. There's just so many great moments in this game. It's just such a ridiculous game with so much going on. And you'll be dealing with, like, when you're dealing with the robots.
Oh, man! I took. Whoa!
Yeah, it's just it's full of just epic moments. And yeah, Captain F Castle having a buddy reloading your giant gun while you unleash hell is super immersive, makes it feel like a true team effort. And this is the thing about Helldivers 2. There's no like PvP. You're not competing against other people. It's a global effort to take on, you know, these alien races. And the devs have actually got the ability that they can watch matches being played, and based on how things are going, they can intervene. So they could send a big boss into a planet, or give you some extra ammunition. They've been very busy trying to fix the servers at the moment, but basically there's a lot they can do here to make it really interactive. And everyone is just all on board with it. So Helldivers 2, lots of funny clips online. And I will live stream it one day. But yeah, I just wanted to say that was my big Dyer discovery. I'm actually, all I can think about is playing it again. It's incredible, incredible, incredible. So, with all that said, it's time now for the main topic, which is PSVR2 turns 1 year old tomorrow. What a journey it has been, and so much of a journey that I actually found just before doing the show. I found a video clip of Brian introducing me when I got given a PSVR2 from PlayStation ahead of launch during another birthday a year ago.
My name is Brian Powell from this channel right here, PSVR Without Parole. And this gentleman over here on the other side of the pond where Sony likes people, it's Myles fucking Dyer. What's up, dude?
Brian, Game Cats, it is awesome to be here. Happy Friday, everyone. Yeah, look, really excited for this show. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, like, how excited I am, and so I'm, like, so low-key, because I'm just holding it in, and, like, you know, I could talk for hours now, but we're going to try and keep this to a 30-minute show today. There's, you know, we're going to just keep it nice and concise. I'll give one-word answers of my thoughts on stuff. But, yeah, also, thank you, Game Cats, for the happy birthday messages. 36 today. Don't feel too old.
Yeah,
What
dude,
up,
that was super low key, man. I gave you the highest energy level possible intro that I had in my fucking cold dead soul, and you're like, hi.
And it threw me off. It threw me off. I wasn't expecting it, Brian. Yeah, so that was over a year ago now. And it's been a big part of my journey this past year because, as many of you know, I've been a gamer my entire life. I've been a YouTuber, content creator since 2006. But it was April of 2022, or 21 was it? I think 2022, that Brian invited me to be a co-host for Without Parole, which was an absolute honour. And I love the community so much. It's a community I'd always been a part of before I became a host. And it felt like it scratched the itch of me being able to do some kind of like commentary. I've always been into futurism and technology, and I've long said that like online video is this empathy machine. It's a way that we can share experiences, and we can connect with people around the world who we would not normally meet. And it had very quickly became apparent to me that virtual reality is the next step of an empathy machine. I'm not going to go into all the backstories, but there have been projects I've worked on in the past. When I was at The Guardian as a video strategist, we worked on a project called 6x9, which you can still look online. That's a 6x9, which is about solitary confinement. And it was a VR experience where you're in a solitary confinement cell while having narration from people that had actually been in solitary confinement. And it was incredibly moving. And in gaming, you know, you get to experience all sorts of stories, all sorts of worlds, and connect with people from everywhere. And so when I went into 2023, the year of PSVR2 that we were so hyped for, I was very grateful to have the opportunity to go to Sweden to meet Fast Travel Games and get to play on PSVR2 early. And then PlayStation UK reached out to me and said that they wanted to send me a headset. It all became very, very real, and it was all thanks to this amazing community and Brian and the Without Parole crew for taking a chance with me. And it soon became apparent that actually live streaming VR games would be a really good way to cover VR on my channel, because I like live streaming. I think there's something about live streaming, the sense of anything could happen. And for many of you who aren't necessarily gamers or virtual reality gamers, watching someone in VR is still interesting, especially when it's horror. And I'll dig out some of the horror clips for you a bit later. And I did some VR Let's Plays, very low quality. It was the camera like looking up from the ground. It was really awkward. It wasn't me green screened or anything. And as the months went by, I just invested more and more into it. I got a really good VR setup. I got a mat on my floor, so it's easy for me to be positioned on camera. And I just took it from there. And it's been an amazing journey. And here we are, coming up to a year later, and I have played 170 PSVR2 titles. And so with all that said, I just wanted to start off by saying a massive thank you to everyone, because I wouldn't be doing this without all of you and this amazing community, amazing support. Massive thanks to Without Parole, and also to PlayStation, specifically PlayStation UK. So it has been a year since PSVR2. What are my thoughts on the state of play, pun intended, with PSVR2? For me, I have 10 key takeaways, and so I'm going to go through these, and then I'm happy to do a bit of Q&A if people have any questions for me, and obviously share your own thoughts as well. And then I have 5 things that I think PlayStation needs to do in the following year if they want to have PSVR2 become a much bigger success in terms of adoption and engagement. Because it's one thing to buy the headset, you want people to keep putting that headset on and playing with it. Okay, so 10 things. Number one, my number one takeaway of PSVR2 is this is revolutionary immersion in gaming. Okay, the PlayStation VR2 headsets, and I have notes here that I've put together. The PSVR2 headset sets a new standard for immersion with all its advanced features. You have haptic feedback in the controllers, which is amazing. You have adaptive triggers that when it's utilized well, it means that when you're pulling a bow and arrow, you feel the tension. When you're reloading a weapon or pulling the trigger, there's one game where you're pulling it and you pull it halfway and you can feel it about to shoot, and then you pull it all the way. And the rumbles and the textures and everything, that is incredible. It has headset rumble. So when you're experiencing going over bumps, I guess in a car, it might rumble around a lot. You might feel it. If you're getting shot in the head, you know, less glamorous, you feel rumble in the headset. And then there's eye tracking. And eye tracking has one of 2 main functions. One is foveated rendering. And it's the technology that means that wherever you're looking in the headset, it is rendering it in the highest fidelity, and everywhere around it less so. And it means that all the computing and processing power doesn't have to render everything in top quality. All that's important is where you're looking is in the highest quality. And so it means you get more out of your games. And not a lot of PSVR2 games take advantage of that. And that's a big theme here, which is we're still in the early days. But the other thing for eye tracking is it could be operating menus. It could be that when you're aiming with a bow and arrow, it knows where you're looking, so it can kind of aid the intention of where you want to fire. But I think the best example, and I'm holding this up here, Synapse, is that you in Synapse, you have telekinesis, and so wherever you're looking, you can select items, and then using the hand that doesn't have the weapon in it, you can pick it up, and then you can throw it across the air. And so that is amazing. Some people are saying, does Myles know us? You didn't say. I know you. I know you all. I know you're pretty good. And Synapse has just been one of the most incredible gaming experiences to use that, because you feel like I'm using telekinesis. This is what telekinesis must feel like. But yeah, there's a lot of features here that are still not being utilized, as I mentioned already, and some of you saying it in the chat rightly, is like adaptive triggers. Horizon Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, or actually the Forbidden West being the one made for PS5, although it did come out on PS4 as well. They always boast about these adaptive triggers, and it's important that these things come across to PSVR2. And so when adaptive triggers are used, it feels amazing. But there's more games that need to do it, but it's always that extra thing that needs to be put on top. And it's the same with eye tracking. Foveated rendering needs to come into a lot more. Legendary Tales, which just came out, uses eye tracking. I've actually experienced the game with and without the dynamic foveated rendering, and the difference it makes is absolutely incredible. We had the ability before launch to turn it on and off just to see the difference. And obviously when you're using magic, it will send it like magic where you're looking. So yeah, firstly, without doubt, PSVR2 is revolutionary immersion in gaming. There are other headsets that offer fantastic things, but there is no doubt that PSVR2 is a high quality headset even a year on. It leads the charge in many areas. So, you know, I think about the headset rumble and the eye tracking, just absolutely incredible. Number 2, there is a diverse gaming library. Okay, where are the games? Where are the games? You hear again and again. This is what we've heard all year round. Where are the games? And unfortunately, it's not just from, you know, random people questioning online. It's unfortunately been uttered by mainstream gaming journalists, which I find incredibly frustrating. PSVR2 boasts over 170 games now, which cover a wide range of genres and experiences. I put together this little image just to sort of show some of them, you know, the different sort of games there are. There are so many, and this is just a handful of games. There are so many PSVR2 games out there. And actually, if we look at my Let's Play list here, and just going down, just the different sort of games, there are so many games. And look, not all of them are great games, but different people like different games, and there are plenty. But one of the main issues is that there are a lot of amazing PSVR2 experiences which are not tied to popular IPs, which means you have to do a bit more research. And for the average consumer, I don't blame them for finding that to be hassle. But that's why it's the responsibility of gaming organisations to talk about them. And actually, there are some that do. Eurogamer, Ian Higton, is a massive advocate. And I'm talking about sort of in the mainstream gaming spaces. But there are just so many games for everyone. And where are the games? Where are the games? The answer is, here are all of the games. And if you've ever got a question about any of them, PSVR Without Parole does. And by the way, the reason it's at 169 is on this list, Ragnarok isn't showing because it got taken down due to copyright. So I will be doing that again sometime soon. For number 2, it has a thriving and diverse gaming library. Number 3, and this kind of relates to it, is there is still the search, because these key takeaways aren't just about like the positives, it's about like what is the state of play of PSVR 2. For number 3, there is still the search for a killer game, a killer app. Because while there are amazing titles with big IPs like Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 4 Remake and Gran Turismo 7, and these definitely have their appeal, PSVR 2, I think, is still on the lookout for a massive IP that can transform it from a niche product to a must-have device. And some people will disagree with me on this. I think Resident Evil has kind of... And by the way, I still want Resident Evil games to keep coming out on PSVR 2. I'm not saying to stop. But you've already catered for the horror niche with it. People that love PSVR or VR, people who are going to give VR a go and love horror games and Resident Evil games have already bought PSVR 2. Or are still going to. They're still sold on it. When it comes to Gran Turismo 7, it's a lot of tech enthusiasts, people that are into those kind of things, people that probably have already invested into racing rigs. So if you've done that, why wouldn't you also invest into PSVR 2? Obviously, there's some generalization there. But I think that they need a more mainstream IP. And I think it has to be something like a Last of Us, a Fortnite, or Grand Theft Auto. I think those are always really important. Now, a year ago, on February the 23rd, so just under a year ago, I said, here is a thread of games and IPs I would love to see come to PSVR 2. Okay, and you can still go to this, and actually I will link this in the chat for anyone that wants to go down the list themselves and have a look. But, you know, let's just have a bit of fun with this. You won't agree with all of them, but my point is these do. So Grand Theft Auto Online VR would be massive. It'd be massive. And I know that there's a new Grand Theft Auto coming out, but if GTA Online for GTA 5 came out on VR, it'd be huge. It would be a system seller. Just like Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a system seller, and it's why that at the moment there's a lot of speculation that PlayStation will be releasing a PS5 Pro towards the end of the year, because they know that Grand Theft Auto 6 will help shift those. Fortnite VR, especially since the no build was brought in, I think would work. Destiny 2 VR. I know Destiny 2 is coming to an end now, but that would have been most excellent. The Last of Us VR. I think The Last of Us VR would be absolutely incredible, and it's such a big IP. Just like The Last of Us went from a flat screen game to a HBO series, I think it would bring a lot of Last of Us fans would be like, right, I have to get a PSVR 2 to experience this from the perspective of being in it. Spider-Man VR, this is something that I kind of feel like, well, they'd have to really nail it so you weren't feeling motion sickness. But playing stuff like Dead Hook made me realise the traversal is possible. Obviously, it'd be a massive undertaking. But I'm just saying this to give a sense of what kind of IP needs to come to really shift things. What we got here? Elden Ring VR. We've just had the DLC announced. Elden Ring VR would be great. I mean, we've just seen Legendary Tales, which has a very Dark Souls-esque feel to it. But yeah, Elden Ring VR would be wonderful. Guitar Hero VR. We've obviously had air guitar. Would be great. But, Guitar Hero VR, standing on the stage with friends, would be awesome. Astrobot Rescue Mission sequel. We're all expecting it this year. I don't actually think that this would shift as many people as a headset, so a lot of these, may not be the big hitters. I'm not saying I don't want Astrobot. I definitely do. I don't think it would be as strong as some of the others. Call of Duty Warzone. If they brought the second one to VR, again, a massive IP. How about Hideo Kojima VR project? Would that bring people in? Hideo Kojima loves pushing forward with technology and mediums. VR would be great for that. What Remains of Edith Finch? Not so much of a seller, but the point is, and this is probably going to bleed to another thing that I think, which is they need to start porting more flat screen games. Half-Life Alyx. Again, I don't think this would be the big hitter that we want, but a lot of people would welcome it for sure. Dragon Ball Z, Returnal VR, Doom Eternal, Marvel's Wolverine VR, which I think is a lot more suited for VR than Spider-Man. Sons of the Forest VR, which is just fully released the other day, actually, as in the flat screen. Dead Space, Pokemon VR. Can you imagine? God of War VR. So yeah, look, they still need to find the killer app and bring it over, and that'll take a lot of investment and development time. They need to do it before the end of the PS5. They need to do it in the next 3 years, but I'll get to more of that in a bit. So yeah, so first 3 so far. It's a revolutionary immersive in gaming. It has a diverse gaming library. I believe there is still the search for this killer app because the people that are sold on VR are already investing in it if they can. It's about convincing the other people, which brings me on to point number 4, which is experiencing is believing. The true potential of PSVR2 can only be understood through first-hand experience, as traditional media like Let's Plays and reviews can never fully convey the immersive experience. In the lead up to PlayStation 5, there were going to be lots of stands where people could try out 3D audio or the DualSense controllers. All of that could have been experienced at your local store, but because of the pandemic, it wasn't possible. It's even the case with VR, PSVR2. You need people to put the headset on, and so it's always going to be a bit of a slow burn. This unique characteristic emphasizes the importance of direct engagement for potential users. I actually congratulated Sony for reaching out to a lot of PlayStation influencers that had never owned VR before and gave them a VR headset. Unfortunately, I've not seen many of them continue playing it, or at least making content with it, because also it's one thing to go into VR, but making content is even more difficult unless you're using a green screen and things like that. There's a lot of barriers to entry. There's a lot of friction when it comes. So experiencing is believing with PSVR 2, and I think it's just going to take time. I think PSVR was a thing that people would try and go, oh, this is amazing. PSVR 2, I think, is so much more profound because of the things that I've mentioned already. My 5th takeaway from the first year of PSVR 2 is that there is a great need for a social hub of some kind. And what do I mean by that? Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a multiplayer shared social space, but one in which you can create your world and customize it, put in trophies on the walls or your collections from PlayStation Stars. For those that don't know, with PlayStation Stars, you can get these little models of different parts of PlayStation history and current games. I think that the absence of a central social hub or metaverse experience similar to PlayStation Home, which is the thing we hear again and again, is felt within the PSVR2 ecosystem. A lot of us talked about that when we first turned on our headsets, there was this cool bit with some particle effects. But you want something like PlayStation Worlds. You wanted something that was like, here you are in VR. And I felt that was missing. It'd be great to have a platform for seamless game mode transitions, world exploration with friends, and creative spaces. This could really enhance the social aspect of VR. And hey, Brian. It's good to see Brian here in the chat. Brian says, everyone has their own opinion about what a killer app is, but I think it's become obvious that there is no ubiquitous killer app. VR is just growing way slower than we and anyone expected. And I agree with that. There's definitely no silver bullet with it. And but I do think, for the reasons I gave with Grand Theft Auto 6 probably being one of the reasons that Sony is preparing for a PS5 Pro, is they know that when it comes to those really, really S-tier gaming experiences, that is the sort of stuff that does shift hardware. And they've shifted hardware for the driving fans. They've done it for the horror fans. I think for the more mainstream stuff, I do think there is a difference between The Last of Us and God of War. I think that God of War VR would be great, but I do think that The Last of Us, because of what they've done with the HBO series and things like that, I think it's just at such a higher level and could be impactful. But once again, I'm not saying that just by releasing that it's going to do a massive seismic shift, but I think it would make a difference. It's a part of an overall strategy though, right? People in the chat are mentioning Rec Room, something I loved on PSVR. In recent weeks, it's been communicated by them that they have no intention of bringing it to PSVR2 because the player base isn't big enough, which is, or at least it isn't seen as a worthy investment, which is a real shame. I do think that PSVR2 is missing a social space. And by the way, this is just my thoughts on what I think it needs. I'm not saying that this is what it needs to succeed. I just think that this would be an amazing next step for PSVR2. Number 6, and you'll see that there's a lot of overlap with these. And this actually goes to what Brian was alluding to as well. It's still the early days of VR. The VR industry is still in its infancy. We've just seen Apple entering the VR space or spatial computing space. And yes, given they're not focusing on gaming, but we are still in the early days of the VR industry. But the Unreal Engine's Universal VR Injector hints at future possibilities. And for those that don't know, it was this indie dev or a group of people that I think it was just one person. They've created this tool that allows you to basically port flat screen Unreal Engine games into VR, and it works amazingly. Obviously, there are bugs here and there. It doesn't have the polish that an actual official VR game would have, but I do think that will help put some pressure as well. But yeah, it's still the early days of VR. It's a lot earlier than we'd like it to be. I also think we instantly compare VR games to, what flat screen games are and expect there to be a parity. We always need to remind ourselves, and I think most of us know this anyway, there is a lag time. VR games are never going to be on par with what they're able to do on flat screen just because of what computing power is required and development. So, we just always have to keep that in mind. Number 7, a game for every gamer. I'm just going to bring this image up again, and this ties back to what I said earlier. I do think that there is a game for every gamer or every person on PSVR 2. These are just a selection of my Let's Plays thumbnails, but to show you a mix. So, top row, Five Nights at Freddy's. We got horror. We got Firewall Ultra. Obviously, that's been going through some difficulties, but we've had like Breaches since. So tactical shooters. Survive, the more open world games. Kayak VR for some more peaceful, atmospheric pieces. Beat Saber for music lovers. Hubris for, sci-fi lovers. Obviously, we think of Red Matter as well. Human Anatomy VR for people that want to use it as an educational tool. Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, when we want more of those sort of looter action games. Trip for meditation. Synapse for, state of the art, using all the bells and whistles on the headset. Obviously, Resident Evil 4, seeing those big ports come across. Same with Horizon Call of the Mountain. Les Mills Body Combat for fitness. We've got Sea Smash VRS for the sporty sort of games. No Man's Skies for the truly open universe. And Puzzling Places for people that like puzzling games. This is just a handful. What's that? 4, 8, so 16 games. 16 games out of 170. So that's just a selection, and that wouldn't be necessarily my best representation of the vastness. I'm sure many of you could name some other games that you'd switch out there to show the true extent. But just looking at that now, there is a game that would probably appeal to a different person based on accessibility, on genre, style. There is just so much available on PSVR 2. Just getting my notes back up. Here we go. So the diversity highlights the platform's commitment to providing a broad spectrum of VR experiences. And I think that's really, really important because gaming is quite a personal thing. I think VR gaming is the most personal. You're putting yourself in those worlds. It's very personal. And so having that diversity is really important because it's not just that different people like different genres. Different people like different combinations of genres. And so having people so they can have their own playlists and games is really, really important. Number 8, VR is the ultimate social experience. And this, I'm not talking about what I've mentioned before about having a social space. I'm talking about the fact that despite VR seeming like an isolating tool, you know, you're putting a headset on, you're cutting yourself off from the world around you, I think VR offers unparalleled social gaming experiences, kind of like the magic with like the Nintendo Wii back in the day or Guitar Hero. I love it most in group settings where I can watch other people in VR play it and seeing their reactions. This aspect of VR gaming enhances its appeal for social gatherings and, you know, family entertainment. When I go at Christmas, I'll take my VR headset with me. When I have friends over, I love putting them in it, you know, choosing a game that's specifically for them and just seeing them get lost in it. And I think that that also gets round to, you know, point number 4 about experiencing is believing. I see a lot of people that come over and try it out and then say, actually, I'm probably going to go buy one now, because they just see the value of it. Number 9, underutilized marketing potential. Okay, this is something I know a lot of you have mentioned, and this is going to be a big part of my 5 things for the year ahead. But the past year has been fantastic, and Sony has done a lot of things right. But the PSVR2 community and the devs have done so much heavy lifting, and unfortunately that comes hand in hand with being in the golden era where you are trying to, you know, establish a community, establish a new technology. And as I said, we're still in the early days. PSVR2 had a soft launch, and marketing strategies of PSVR2 have been criticised for not effectively showcasing the platform's vast and diverse game library. It had a soft launch, in my opinion, because it was at a time where the bottleneck, and which is still the bottleneck, their focus was selling PlayStation 5 consoles. If people don't own PS5 consoles, they're not going to get a VR headset. And if, let's just say at the moment, there's 50 million have been sold, let's say 50 million PS5s have been sold, and Ian Stanbridge says, nonsense, Myles, all you need for marketing is a blog. Let's say 50 million PS5s have been sold, and let's just say 1 million PSVR2s have been sold. 1 in 50, okay? 1 in 50 people buy who own a PS5 get a PSVR2. They need to keep pushing the PS5s. Instead of trying to increase the percentage, which they could do, they could increase the percentage. For them, it's like, well, actually, if we push PS5s and know that 1 in 50 people are gonna get a PSVR2 headset, then we'll just stay the course that way. But don't stick with me with those figures. Those figures I've just plucked out of the air. But that's just an example of how it could work. I also think that some of the marketing issues have been that Sony often, they'll say like, here, they'll do a promo with like 4 different PSVR2 games showcased, and with no shade to the developers of some of these games, I'm not going to be naming them. I think we all know. Sometimes I'm just like, that is not showing. Actually, one of them I will mention, which was the Project Wingman game, which wasn't even a full game. And it had some pretty questionable practices in the lead up where it didn't kind of turn out to be what people thought it was going to be in terms of being a fully fledged game. And for me, it's like, you see it when PlayStation does a tweet with a list of 4 games, and most of the responses are PSVR2 owners going, okay, these 2 games you've put here, they're fine, but what about these games? Like, why aren't they shouting about the top experiences? Why aren't they engaging more with influencers to get content made of them playing it, you know? There is so much to shout about, and I just feel like it feels like PSVR2 in their strategy is an afterthought. And I know it's not an afterthought, but that's kind of how it feels like, and I think it's kind of difficult. And so I think that PlayStation, I don't want to get ahead of myself because I'm going to get to what they need to do in the next year. It's all about leveraging the passionate PSVR2 community for marketing to amplify the platform's strengths and appeal to a wider audience. That's how you're going to do it. And maybe that is happening over time. And number 10, my 10th key takeaway from the first year of PSVR2 is this technology, the PSVR2, is future-proof. Now, what do I mean by that? PSVR2's hardware is not limited by its capabilities, but rather by the current generation console. And that's not criticizing the current generation's console. Experiences like Red Matter hint at the potential for even more visually stunning games as developers master the technology. And the way I'd explain this is, when you're in Red Matter, and it uses foveated rendering, and you look up close on items and it looks so clear. You're looking at human faces and it's super clear. It's like, okay, so right now in this moment, what I'm looking at looks almost photoreal. The screen door effect is barely there. I almost feel like I'm there. Now, that doesn't apply to everywhere that you're looking in the game because there's a lot going on. It doesn't happen in games where there's a lot of particle effects or there's a lot of motion, because the way that games have to be decided, they have to work out where the horsepower is going. But the fact that the lenses of the headset allow you to see that clearly means that this headset is going to continue looking... The games for PSVR 2 are only going to get better as the power of the consoles improves. PS5 Pro, PlayStation 6. I think it's future-proof for that. Whereas I think with PSVR, by the time it came to the PlayStation 5, you were already sort of getting a sense of the limitations. We haven't even reached the ceiling yet with PSVR 2. And so, yeah, the anticipation of future console improvements like the PS5 Pro or PS6 promises an exciting future for PSVR 2's capabilities and its gaming library. So yeah, and it's not to say they won't release new versions of the PSVR 2 or optimize it. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that at the moment they've created something that is going to last the long run, and I find that so very exciting. So well done to PlayStation for that. If anyone's got any questions for me about PSVR 2, do put them in the comment section. Put a Q at the beginning so I can save and favourite it. And while I'm collating those questions, I'm mindful of the time as well, that I have basically a list of 5 things I think PlayStation needs to do in the next year for PSVR 2 to really excel in both adoption rates and engagement rates. Adoption, getting new people to buy the headset, and engagement rates, people that own it to use it and invest more in the games that are on offer. Okay, 5 things. So we've just had a list of 10, and actually just to summarise those 10 things, 10 takeaways from the year. Revolutionary immersive in gaming, PSVR 2 is. It has a diverse gaming library. I believe that there is still a search for a killer app. Not a silver bullet, but an app that will really, really make people want to jump in, because they'll be like, I need to experience this in VR. Number 4, experiencing is believing. That will remain the case for VR for the foreseeable future. People need to try the headset on to really understand how good it's going to be. Number 5, I think there's a need for a social hub of some kind. A hub to, be in VR with your own space that you can customize and share spaces with other people, like a PlayStation Home or a Rec Room. Number 6, it's still the early days of VR. We're still in the early days, super early days. Number 7, there is a game for every type of gamer out there on VR. Unless you're a non-VR gamer, you completely don't like VR, then there's not a game for you, obviously. But in terms of genres and different play styles and accessibilities, there's a lot there. Number 8, it's the ultimate social experience when you get other people trying VR and you get to laugh along with them as they're doing it. That's really, really important. Number 9, there is majorly underutilized marketing potential from PlayStation, and I wish I could. And I've reached out to PlayStation. I want to help them succeed because there is great stuff here. And number 10, this is future-proof technology for the foreseeable future. I think that PSVR2 will still work incredibly well on the PS6. I think that's really, really great. So, right, I've saved 2 questions. I'm just having a look to see if there's any more. Oh, I like this. This is a cute thing. Maybe the real first-party Sony support were the friends we made along the way. Here to that. That's cute. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, everyone. So here are the 5 things. I'm going to try and be really quick with this. Here are 5 things that Sony needs to do, or PlayStation needs to do for PSVR2 to succeed over the next year. Okay. Number 1. There needs to be a price cut or some epic bundles to entice people who are on the fence to finally jump in. Super fans of the medium will have led the way with the full price. That's how it works with technology. People who get in early are those that are the super fans. But getting new adopters with something that costs over £500, in addition to a console that costs over £400, and obviously ascribe whatever pricing is in your part of the world, is a huge ask. It's a huge ask, especially for something that has to be experienced to believe. And when you try VR, you're going to be playing the very shallow gaming experiences where you can sort of jump in and jump out. Some of the best VR experiences are when you're on your own, in your own time, and you can take your time with it. So I do think that there needs to be a price cut or epic bundles. I don't actually think the epic bundles will work. I think there needs to be a price cut. Easier said than done, especially with the current economic situation, inflation, everything like that, supply issues. But I do think that in the next year there needs to be a price cut. Number 2, and Roy, you've got ahead of me there, but I'll get to that in a moment. Number 2, PlayStation needs a VR Bluepoint Games type studio whose remit is to port some of their most popular flat screen IPs to VR. Now, for those that don't know who Bluepoint Games are, they're a Texas-based development studio who were behind remasters such as Shadow of the Colossus and remakes like Demon's Souls for PS5. Sony needs, and they kind of do this where they like invest in Capcom to bring, Resident Evil games over to PSVR 2. I would love them to have a studio, and maybe they do have this, and it's like your remit is to look at the catalogue, look at flat screen games, and provide and become experts in VR porting, like Bluepoint Games became experts in remastering and remaking games. And your responsibility for the next year, 2, 3 years is to bring games across, popular games over. Number 3, have cross-play more prevalent across its multiplayer games. There are some excellent PSVR 2 games with dead multiplayer lobbies, and despite having said at the beginning that I'm working with Rapid Eye Movers on C-Smash VRS, and for those that missed it, I am working with them, supporting them on their future content strategy. One of the things that really depresses me about the game is when I go on there to play multiplayer, it's very difficult to find people to play with. Luckily, they have an AI bot, and that is why that I hope that the crossplay comes in after it comes to MetaQuest, because C-Smash is a brilliant, well-polished game with so much going on. Whereas games like Knock and Walkabout Mini Golf really have benefited from the crossplay functionality. So, yeah, more crossplay is needed for PSVR 2 games. Number 4, and I'm actually going to bring this up because this is what Roy was saying. Do Sony plan on selling controllers? I mean, come on. Now, for those that don't know, the Sense controllers, the controllers for your PSVR 2, you cannot buy them separately. If they break, you have to send them back because they'll be out of warranty after a year. And I think that if you even within warranty, I think you have to send your headset back with them as well. It's so ridiculous. I want someone to confirm that, but I think that is the case. In the next year, in year 2, they need to sell the Sense controllers separately. It is absolutely absurd that you can't. I thought, they'll do it a few months down the line. The fact that we're a year on and you still can't buy the Sense controllers separately is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So that's number 4. And number 5, and this is one of my more ambitious ones, but I think this is really, really important. PlayStation needs to release one top-tier PSVR2 exclusive every quarter. Every quarter. That doesn't have to be a AAA first-party game. They need a top-tier PSVR2 exclusive every quarter. It could be an indie game. It could be a bigger game. I think that one AAA PSVR2 game, which could be a first-party flat-screen port, one a year. So it becomes the flagship of what you're looking forward to every year. If we knew, if it was announced that The Last of Us is coming to PSVR2 in November, there would be hype all year round about this, right? There'd be so much hype. It'd be something to look forward to. Because no matter what was happening during the year, you're like, it's been a bad month, but The Last of Us VR is coming out at the end of this year. Or if you got a lot of good games coming out, you go, wow, look at all these good games. And The Last of Us VR. It just gives a North Star. And we're seeing a lot of issues with PlayStation at the moment in terms of it's just come out in their financial call that no existing major franchise is releasing a new title until at least April 2025. Not to say there won't be announcements, and it's not to say there won't be other great games that are not major existing franchises. Helldivers 2 would be an example of that, which was absolutely epic. But yeah, so those are the 5 things I think that PlayStation needs to do in the next year, in its second year for PSVR 2, to increase adoption, getting more people buying the headset, and to increase engagement in terms of getting people to keep playing. Price cut or epic bundles, although I think epic bundles less so. There needs to be a price cut to appeal to those that are either on the fence or are yet to consider. PlayStation, number 2, PlayStation needs a VR Bluepoint Games type studio. Their briefing is to port flat screen games to PSVR 2. Number 3, there needs to be a lot more cross-play support for its multiplayer games. Number 4, they need to sell the Sense controllers separately. This is less, I guess, so about adoption and engagement, but I think about engagement. They need to be selling the Sense controllers separately. And number 5, they need to release one top-tier PSVR 2 exclusive every quarter and one AAA PSVR 2 game a year as a North Star. That would be amazing. Even if it was a hybrid game, a game coming to flat screen and VR at the same time. Those are my 5 things. I am now going to look at your questions. I've got a couple more questions here. Ian says, do you think that Sony needs to launch a cost-reduced version of the headset like they did with PSVR 1 to increase sales? So obviously I've covered that. So I think they need to do a price cut. They need to do a price cut. Do you think we move on to the next best game before giving other games a chance to flourish? There is a fast-paced nature to it. I obviously can't speak for other people, and obviously the way that I experience games is a lot different to other people. But yeah, I mean, we are spoilt for selection, and I mean, there are so many games out there that you could spend hours and hours in. I think VR is something that you want to dip and dive in a lot with as well. Games with T, hope you're doing well. I saw your Operation Serpents review earlier. Nice one, and I totally agree with you on that desert mission. Almost made me want to pull my hair out. Looper says we had 6 big exclusives in 2023. Does it count as 1.5 per quarter? I guess it does. So in that case, it's carry on. But it was front loaded. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was all, I don't know how many of them you would count at launch or in the launch window, because you had Gran Turismo 7 and Call of the Mountain. And it's not to say there's anything wrong with that, but my point is that we're not going to have another launch window, big push, you know what I mean? So I think to keep it going, having one every quarter that is a part of a campaign that they're promoting, I think is going to be really, really important. So yeah. App UK says Walkabout does it right. Keep releasing courses and people keep coming back. They could do that with the shooters. Long-term support. I mean, we talk about like live service games and that, and it's not always about live service, but yeah, I've always said if you create a really good game mechanic and world that is fun to play, I mean, it's one of the top rules as a content strategist when I work with people, and any of you that are content creators, you'll have thought of this before, but I have sort of a list of like 10 things you should consider when you're making content. And one of the top recommendations I make is, if this is successful, can we make more of it? What do I mean by that? If you're thinking about video content that you make and you're making a really good video, but it's, let's say, I even made this mistake myself. I did it in a podcast studio that cost me £200 a day to rent out. It was a custom studio for the brand, which meant I couldn't move it anywhere else. It got to a point where I was like, oh, I can't keep affording this. But if we're going to do it, it has to be done there. Whereas me setting up a home studio, it means if I do anything here and it works well, I can keep doing it because I've got all the presets and things like that. That is the same with not just VR gaming, but gaming generally. And I don't just mean if you make a good game, can you make sequels? Because that does mean like reinventing the wheel in some ways. Look at what happened with Destiny and Destiny 2. Destiny 2 actually reverted to being basically Destiny. And I know that was because of the publishing agreement, I think, with Activision between Bungie. Bungie just wanted to keep building on Destiny for a 10-year project. And so Walkabout Mini Golf is a great example of that. If it's successful, can you keep making more of it? The answer is yes. They keep releasing new courses, which are amazing, and I will happily keep putting my hand in my pocket and buying it. Obviously, sometimes they give me game keys, but when they don't, I happily buy it because I think what they do is amazing. And so making sustainable gaming is so important with VR because VR is so expensive to, develop for. All right, everyone. So 3 at launch, Loop, I said. Yeah, Switchback. 3 at launch. Sorry. 3 at launch, yeah. Then Switchback, Synapse, and RE4. Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, at launch, it was RE Village, Horizon, and Gran Turismo 7. So yeah. And I guess if I'm saying 4, 1 a quarter, and one of them is that AAA one, it kind of works. But yeah. So that is it, everyone. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone for tuning in. This was quite a big episode. I need to get on the I need to text Brian because I want to do Gamescast with him tonight because I think Wes isn't available, but I need to speak to him unless he's announced it's been called off. I don't know. But I want to say a massive thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope that you've had an amazing first year of PSVR2, and even if you don't own one, if you've been sticking around for the ride with all the stuff I do, I think I need to end with some PSVR2 clips, right? Let's just do a few of them before we end. Let's have a look here. Let's play. I've got this highlight clips folder. Let's see what we got here. I don't know. Let's see if some of these. Those bounce pads are I think the hardest thing so far in the game, because to get it just right. I love the sound effects and the spikes. Oh, okay, that was good. So good, this game. Toss. Okay. This looks tricky. Oh shit, that is. Whoa. Ape, adapt, overcome. This makes me want to have Dredge in VR. Dredge in VR, right? This is amazing.
Don't forget, boy. Come back with a hold full of fish, or don't come back at all.
Oh wow, look. They need to add this to No Man's Sky. It's so good. Wow, this looks amazing.
For your safety, please make your way to the exit. Please make your
Wow.
way to the exit in 5 minutes. 4, 3, 1 minute. You have...
Is someone there?
What is my resting heart rate? I think it's like 59 or something. I'm literally crawling. Okay, I see something there. Jesus Christ! I thought it was glitched and it hadn't loaded properly.
Is someone there?
For your safety, please make your way to the exit. Please make your way to the exit in 5 minutes. 4.
Don't be shy.
Oh! Jesus Christ, there's... Someone just said, quick achievement, slap a jumping spider with any melee as soon as it jumps. Okie dokie. I mean, I haven't seen him jump much yet. Oh, shit! What happened? Oh my goodness, this is horrible. Ah! Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Oh. Yeah, I'm really f***ing scared, man. I heard that. It's down there. Of course there's a downstairs. I think I need to skip to this is the full thing. If you've never seen this, this is like the last video on my channel because I actually went back and edited it. This was my first proper PSVR2 live stream and my heart rate. This is unbelievable. Look, I'll just show this section. I hated this, and in the bottom left corner is the swear counter. I should have played Cities VR. Cities VR would have been way better. I should have played Cities VR. Yeah, I'm really f***ing scared, man. I heard that. It's down there. Of course there's a f***ing downstairs. It's like it's gonna close behind me. I watched Barbarians recently. Yeah, my heart rate's gonna get... I don't want to turn around. I'm so f***ed, man. Oh, man, I'm fucking hating this shit. Can I get out? The sounding in this is... Oh man, I fucking hate this shit. There's blood. There's fucking blood. Blood's not good.
And I saw you too as well. Go to do my task, and then I saw Purple dead. And I saw Black go the way where I saw Black go where I saw Black go where the way is to. Black took the pattern when Black was. I was following Black because I wasn't trying to follow Black. It's just my tack was over where Black was, and then when I went to electrical, I saw Purple.
I'm skipping. I have no idea what Green was on about.
I'm not gonna put a vote. I don't know who. Ah!
I'm gonna kill you.
Black literally said to me, I'm gonna kill you! He said he's gonna kill me! He said he's gonna kill me!
Oh! This is gonna be a good match. I can tell.
Oh shit, I haven't got any more arrows now. Shit.
No, I'm coming back. Getting arrows.
Oh shit, I got blown up.
I blew up one of theirs. I blew them both up!
Nice, nice. Let's go, go, go.
Yes!
Now, I know there's that famous scene in the village where you're running away from everyone. Is this it? Sorry. This is just so ridiculous. I don't know, I'm finding this super easy. Here we go. Classic. I'm sure this is going to feel tense now. You can parry a... By the way, when I said this reminds me of a night out in my local town, I don't do this. You're
Nothing.
just trying to help your hair.
No, only static.
There we go.
There has to be other survivors somewhere.
There we go.
I'm so sick of waiting.
There we go. It's much nicer now. Let's turn this creepy music off.
My sister is alive, Owen.
Yeah, he's gonna get grabbed.
I know. We'll find her. We should stay together.
Yeah, no shit.
Come next to me.
I'm next to you.
Are you ready?
I
Can
think
we
so.
go now?
I've got your hair. There you go. I hear something.
I'm waiting for you.
You're waiting for me. Oh shit! Ah! Fuck! Jesus Christ! All right, everyone. It's been an amazing first year of PSVR2. I enjoyed making that Barbaria clip. I just couldn't help myself. I've actually got a new version I've been working on, and I'm probably going to get a copyright strike, but I had to end on that. Have a good one. I've actually got to pack up, get back to my parents, and get ready for PSVR Without Parole Gamescast Live very, very quickly. So there will be no post-credits scene, but finally, it's time for your thoughts. Bye-bye, everyone. Love you.
Chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness fading, painting goodbye in sky. Far away but dreaming of your ocean eyes. Chasing sunsets all alone. The darkness